What is going on, Browns fans? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you quite possibly the greatest win in Browns history since we've come back in
Greatest.
a long time, people. That's a long time. The Browns winning 33-31 against the Baltimore Ravens in your Week 9 matchup, moving them to 6-3 on the year. Jeff, with the shades, how you doing?
The must-win shades. The must-win shades because we couldn't get to a preview. Ashton, welcome in. Welcome in. Okay, people are going to trickle in slowly.
Absolutely.
You might have just watched this game. You might be wondering, is this team, the Cleveland Browns, are they good? Are they good? Are they great? And trust your eyes here, people. Did the offense look particularly great all game long? No, they didn't. Did the defense look particularly great all game long? No, they didn't. Follow me along this train of thought here. Did the special teams look great all game long? They didn't look very good all game long. James Prochet, we're going to get to you. We're not going to let you off the hook quite like that. But what makes this team great at this current moment is the availability and the chance to win the ball game. I don't care if the offense looks bad. I don't care if the defense looks bad. I don't care if we can't field a punt or make an extra point. You go out there and you have an opportunity to win the game. There is no universe we should have been in this game. There is no chance we should have been even kicking the extra point to tie it. You give them 14 points with the punt, with the Watson. Oh, we didn't see Kyle Hamilton. Maybe you should open your eyes next time. And thanks
missing
for
an extra point.
Listen up. Best win since 99. Take it away.
Absolutely. I mean, Jeff, talk about adversity. I mean, right off the get-go, any game. Listen, I don't know how many Baltimore Raven games have started off where we go on offense and we throw on the first drive, throw a pick six, and we fold. And that's exactly how this game went. And it looked like up until the half, that's how it was going to go. It was looking like we weren't going to have a chance. We were going to get not embarrassed, but still kind of beaten. And again, shooting ourselves in the foot. But you come out, the second half is quite possibly the greatest half of football played offensively for us. Deshaun Watson, finally, after having that horrid first half, comes out and gives you the glimpse of what you paid for him, what he can do, what he has been, and goes 14 for 14, 9 yards, Chef, correct me if I'm wrong on that, and a touchdown.
No incompletion in the second half. And through the ankle injury.
And gets us into field goal range on the final drive for the win. Something that if in many other cases, the shoe is on the other foot, the other team's kicking that field goal, and we're the ones going, what the hell? Today, we were that team, and it felt good to be that team, especially against an AFC North team where you have to get this in order to play for the division. So, Jeff, I mean, can't put any more into it other than one of the greatest games we've been able to win since 1999.
I mean, I'm just going to keep it honest because Ashton, I think that, I don't really have a whole lot of words here, obviously. I don't know if anybody does, but he puts it into this nice condensed one-sentence statement. We are usually on the other end of these type of games. And let's think back. I love looking at the history. When you are a professional football team in the National Football League, when you play games, it's not like every game is a blowout. Even in 0-16, even in 1-15, you go 1-31, you're still a professional big league club. The games are close, but the good teams, the great teams, the teams who are destined to do big things win these games. They win the 49ers game. They win the Indianapolis game. They almost win the Seahawks game. I don't want to talk about it though, because you can't win every style of this type of game. And sure, do I want to come on here and say, oh, we're going to beat the brakes off the Ravens, and then we do? I would love nothing more than to 30-ball teams, 45-ball teams, put up 70 like the Miami Dolphins did early in the year. But that's not the reality of the situation. When push comes to shove, when you're in the trenches in a playoff-type matchup, you saw it today. It's a playoff-type atmosphere. You're in Baltimore. If you don't win the division, you're going to have to probably play on the road in the wild card, and you get the job done. Shout out to respect. Let's do game balls. Who you giving your top game ball to? I want to hear it.
Top game ball. I mean, what a time to step up and get his first pick in general. Greg Newsome, obviously, we got guys down, guys being unavailable in that secondary, and he continues to be one of those driving forces and just the energy, just the up of what we've been able to see. In years past, everyone's just down in the gutters when a punt's muffed and you have to defend for 3 straight drives of penalties, and trying to get something out of nothing. We get absolute great play from Greg Newsome, gets his first pick 6, and what a great time to get it at. I mean,
yes, sir.
No better time to get it. So that's my number 1 game ball. Jeff, how about you?
I can't believe I'm going with the cliche answer, but I got to go with the MVP of this team through 10 weeks. I got to go with the front runner for the defensive player of the year. And I got to go with Myles Garrett. You come up with big plays. You even make big plays when they didn't even count. You made big plays when, your secondary is getting defensive holding, the adversity. And I love the camaraderie with this team. I'll give a game ball to the intangibles, something we don't do very often. The camaraderie, the teamsmanship, the willingness to bounce back, the resiliency. Dustin Hopkins misses the extra point and you're sitting there and you're like, what the hell just happened? You come all the way back from the depths of hell and nonsense, and he's going to miss the extra point, but he's been that guy all year. He's been the solid guy all year. He comes off the field. Who are the first people to greet him? The defense, saying, that's fine. You're going to get an opportunity to win the ball game for us. We're going to go out there and get a stop. Watson's going to march down the field with the help of Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford is my second game ball, by the way. Way to pound the ball. Stefanski, he gets a third game ball because you keep it even, you keep it balanced, you don't shy away from Watson, even though he looks like absolute dog water in the first half, dog water in the first half, and you move on with your life with a win.
Jeff, I mean, we texted between each other. Obviously, I haven't been at my setup for the past 2 weeks. Going to be back this week. So
welcome back. Welcome back.
But you exchanging text messages. Both our starting tackles out. We have to play backups. Our offensive line is in shambles, and what do? We still go out, we throw the ball, we run the ball in that second half. Jerome, like you said, has a great game. I think there were a lot of people, naysayers. There's a lot of stats that came out this past week I saw, but I think the kid has always been, runs hard. He's done what he's tried, been told, and he catches balls too. I mean, he's been doing well, but still, for me, I'm going back to the defense, and I'm thinking that I want to split a game ball between 2 guys who don't have huge stats, but really showed up in the game, I think, when it mattered the most. I'm going JOK and I'm going Double O. Both those guys providing great pressure on Lamar, being able to track him down, being able to get in his face. I think both those guys are underrated, as far as the big names on this team go. Obviously, Denzel Ward having a career year, Myles Garrett having a Defensive Player of the Year career year. I mean, there's just a lot going on with this defense, and it's one of those things where you're like, you want to acknowledge the little guys, the guys who aren't, really showing up with the big name stats with like sacks and interceptions, forced fumbles, all that. But I really do love that the defense seems so deep and so many different areas that we're just constantly getting great play from everyone all around. So I'm splitting the game ball.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that you were going with probably, I think, from my opinion of listening to you talk about them all year long, I think probably your second favorite player on the roster behind Myles Garrett. But how many weeks in a row is this dude, Amari Cooper, going to just casually lead the team in receptions, in yards? He didn't get in the end zone today, but he was very, readily available to do so. I'm ready to put Amari Cooper. Let's get this clipped. Let's get this condensed. Let's get this put in the archives. I'm ready to put Amari Cooper in my top 5 favorite Browns.
Yes.
Since 99. I mean, you have Chubb.
Yes.
You have Garrett. Those are your 2 easy ones. But after that, you got a lot of options. Sure, you could throw a Denzel in there. I think you have a sneaker conversation about Jacoby Brissett for what he did for the franchise. Yeah. Amari Cooper is a top 5 favorite player in a Browns uniform since 99. The dude says absolutely nothing, goes out there, gets his, and goes off. And let me switch gears really quickly because
Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to probably a top 5 staffing member of the Browns since 1999. And he's only been a part of the team for 10 games in a preseason OTAs. And his name is Jim Schwartz, because the defensive adjustments in the second half, you don't get carved by the run in the second half. You limit Mark Andrews in the second half, and you were able to contain Lamar Jackson. I don't know if we played a better half of football defensively against Lamar Jackson than this second half of this game.
Right. And Jeff, I mean, you talk about this defense and just how much it's been revitalized by Jim Schwartz. It's scary. And of course, not even to, take anything away from him, but you flip it on the other head, Kevin Stefanski coming out in the second half, keeping it cool, keeping it calm, not doing anything crazy. He knows he has a chance to get back into this game. He gets Deshaun in his head. Finally, we see the glimpses. We see what we can get out of it. And both of them, stellar job commanding the game. I don't think we've seen a better conducted, running of the clock down. Getting the ball down the field and getting it into the positions we need. And again, when you talk about Amari Cooper, the dude is the best. He's exactly what I've been saying the whole year about. He's just Nick Chubb at the wide receiver position. And that's why you want to put him in your top 5 favorite Browns. Because when a dude just shows up and shows out constantly, consistently, and even when he doesn't get 100 yards or a touchdown, you know what he's still doing? He's getting PIs that get us into the red zone, that get us into those scoring positions. And guess what? Those are winning attributes that don't show up in the stat box. And that's why you gotta watch these damn games, because they're so even though either I'm over here having a heart attack or just over there having a few brewskis.
That's right.
It's one of those things that you just never get tired of seeing, especially when you're just like Jeff said, not a game that you think the Browns are going to win when you're watching it at the beginning.
No, hell no. And if you go and watch the all 22 footage, the dude is probably open every play just because he doesn't get the ball. Not every play, but he's open a lot more times. 25 people in the live. If you're here, hit the like button. If you're a Ravens fan, I'm sorry, but welcome on in. Thank you. If you're a Browns fan, hit the like button. And I'll tell you, let's continue with the intangibles. I don't like the intangibles because you're not getting paid for the intangibles. Yeah. You're getting paid for what happens on the field. But I think let's put this in retrospective, Justin. We've covered this team for the last 3 years. This is our 3rd full season, actually maybe 3.5, 4th full season. This is our 4th full season covering the Cleveland Browns. I think you're finally at a point where you do not have an ego on the roster that is superseding the wants of the team. I think if you go back in recent years, especially when you look at the aftermath of what happens when some of these guys leave, your Jadeveon Clowneys of the world, your Odell Beckham Jr.'s of the world, 2 guys who happen to end up on Baltimore this year, you even with the high ticket price of Deshaun Watson, $230 million guaranteed, I don't think he's a negative ego for the roster. You have Myles Garrett, easily contends for the best edge and one of the best defensive players year in and year out. He's not a huge ego. You have no issues with Nick Chubb. God, I hope that Nick Chubb is just loving how this team is playing right now, because you have the Nick Chubb aura. You have no issues from Amari Cooper, and Njoku doesn't give you any problems. You do not have somebody on this roster who thinks it's more about them than the team, and that is how you win the games. Dustin Hopkins, you bring him in after the Chargers cut him. He's got a chip on his shoulder, comes out, he misses an extra point, but he has an opportunity to right the ship, makes the field goal to go ahead. I think you finally have cohesion, whether it's Jim Schwartz leading the defense, whether it's Kevin Stefanski becoming more of a local leader in the locker room, whether it's Bubba Ventrone on the special teams side, even with Prochet making a mistake, it's not like that we've had that many blunders in the special teams where you felt like the game was going to get costed based off of them. The kicking's been good. The punting's been good. You have cohesion and you have complementary football, at least for some portion of the game finally. And last point here before I throw it back to you. This is not the West Coast. This is not San Francisco versus the Chargers. We're not playing in the West Coast offense here. It's not we're not down to Miami. It's 65, 70 degrees. This is AFC North football. The offense is going to look like crap for some portions of some games. Now, we really prefer not to look like how it did in the first half today, but as long as you can have glimpses and you can have competent drives where you're not getting destroyed every single time you receive the football from the opponent, you put yourself in a chance to win. And that's exactly what happened today. The first half and the second half of this game were like polar opposites. They could have been two totally different football games. We would have been destroyed in the first half and we won in the second half. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, Jeff, I mean, you talk about it, cohesion, finally, talking about the egos, talking about, personnel and everything, even last year, I think you had the locker room of, a great locker room. You had great leaders, great everything. I think the player base was what it needed to be. We just didn't have the personnel at special teams and at defense coordinator. And what happens? You go out, you hold guys accountable. You've talked about it. You've banged the table on it multiple times. Cade York and any other any other, what's the word I'm looking for?
Any other circumstance, he has his job.
And any of the other GMs and the head coaches before would not have cut a 4th round kicker that they had drafted the previous year just because he wasn't kicking well in the preseason. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, you talk about it. I'm starting to believe again. It's one of those things where like the ups and the downs, they're, they are what they are. But when you're able to get a gritty, undeniably gutsy win like this, and you talk about the intangibles and you look at everyone and you see the videos of the locker room going crazy. They know what they have here. We all know what they have here. Talent, top to bottom.
Yep. Guys
who want the championship more than anything in their lives. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, anyone who I could think of right now, all of them just want it more than I've seen in the last 4 years that we've been covering this, Jeff. And it's just undeniable. Amari Cooper, God, there's so many people that and Elijah Moore finally showed some work.
Finally, Ashton, finally.
That play out of the backfield, loved it, where he comes out and we score with Kareem. Man, just so many guys on this team to be so proud of and so happy for. The defense, man, top to bottom. I don't know, Jeff. It's tough. And you have to take a look around the AFC North. Obviously, Cincinnati loses. That's good for us. Steelers still get a win. Coming here next week, this is going to be true AFC North rivalry showdown. They need to flex this game. I think
they should have flexed this game.
This is primetime worthy. At least got to bump it somehow, but this is going to be where the season turns. If you get a win here, the AFC North is in reach. You can take first place.
Absolutely. You've went from 1-3 in the potentially being okay. So you have a win against Cincinnati. Now you have a win against Baltimore. Now you have a chance next week to have a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So next week you have an opportunity to split the division at a minimum. That's always a goal. 4-2 is preferred, but 3-3 is absolutely necessary if you want to be competent and have any chance of making any moves later in the season. So you go from potentially being 1-3 in the division to 2-2. Okay, perfect. Let me boil this down for you in a little crisp paragraph. And I understand. I will put a disclaimer here. Everybody has injuries in the National Football League. Everybody is going to have issues as far as starters being out and starters not being healthy. But let me run it down for you. No Nick Chubb, no Jack Conklin, no DeJuan Jones, no Jedrick Wills. We just shipped out our 3rd wide receiver before the trade deadline. As far as if you were talking about the preseason, Donovan Peoples-Jones, you're thinking is probably wide receiver 3 after Amari Cooper and maybe Elijah Moore contesting to be a top 2 wide receiver on this roster. No Donovan Peoples-Jones. No Watson at 100% health. Hasn't been all year except for maybe the first couple of starts before the shoulder injury. No problem. Teams go out and get the job done as far as injuries, as far as being in a poor position every single week. And I still, don't take this the wrong way, Justin, I still do not think we are quite there yet. Yeah. But this is a telltale sign of a franchise that is great. Not a great individual performance, because it was not a great season so far, because it is 6-3, but a great franchise wins games like this. Baltimore beats us like this all the time. Pittsburgh beats us like this all the time. Cincinnati, we've had their number. You look around the league, though, Belichick beats us like this all the time. We finally get the job done, and it couldn't have come at a better time, in a better week, in a better situation.
I really need us to come out next week and just snap this, 2-streak win streak, then lose. I need the third win streak.
Yep.
I need us to capitalize on the schedule, because after this, we really can get going. You really can start carving your way through the AFC, not just be atop of the North, but maybe even the top of the AFC in general. Obviously, you got to catch up to the Chiefs and the Dolphins, but still, this is looking like one of those seasons where the Browns can really get it done, not finish bottom of the North. And honestly, like Jeff said, it's still not there. It's still not 100. We saw a half of it, but that's not the best that we can be.
Absolutely.
We can be much, much better. And
I like where you're going, though. Let's follow along this. Finish your point. Let's follow along this schedule. Let's schedule look a little bit after you wrap up here.
No, I mean, you talk about with Watson, those halves are huge. When you can build confidence, listen, getting a win over Arizona is all great and dandy. We're supposed to get those wins. AFC North football.
Yep.
A team that has always had our number. When we have needed to win games like this in the past, we have not. We have, like Jeff said, perfect timing. In the past, it's always been the worst timing for us. Now, if we can put it together offensively, which, again, you saw it. We ran the ball well. We came out in the second half, made adjustments, knew what they were going to come with, and we answered every single time, even with the muff punts, even with them scoring a touchdown late in the third or early in the fourth. We still had every answer, cool, calm, collected. This ball can get rolling. And next week, again, the Steelers, they're not blowing the brakes off no one. They're still a respectable team. They're still going to play us hard. They still got Mike Tomlin. They are still going to give us a game no matter what. But if we can see some of what we saw this week, more of that second half than the first, I think this team can really, really make waves. And Jeff, you take it away now with the rest of the schedule. But
And before we get to this, no fan, and here's the thing: the fan base is just a byproduct of what happens as far as the franchise does. So I can't definitively sit here and say, oh, no franchise deserves it more than this, because you know what? If you do stupid crap in your front office and you make stupid decisions and you draft like an idiot, you don't deserve anything. But as far as the fan base goes, no fan base deserves it more than we do, and that's not a victim card. That's not something that we should we should mope around about. I don't, because first of all, this team moved to Baltimore, so that's a whole different story that people still hold a chip on their shoulder. I know that my parents do. I know that my dad and my uncle, who are Browns fans, still do. And I want my kids in 20 years to when they show the graphic, oh, Jim Harbaugh 25-6 against the Ravens. In 20, 30 years, I want my kids to be watching the Browns, and it says Kevin Stefanski 30-10 against the Ravens, because we've been owning their ass for the last 4 decades. Yeah. But before I pass out, let's get to the schedule really quick. I'm so sick of the trauma. This team puts trauma on people. It definitely does. But that's fine. Today, good day. Break the schedule down. Let's do a quick overview, Justin. I want to hear win-loss for each game moving forward. Let's do it.
Listen, the Steelers game, again, you just keep looking at them. Yeah, are they getting by every week? Every week they are surviving. But hey, you come into
they're not elite, though. They're
not elite. Kenny Pickett still can't do much. And we're still sitting here. Our defense is so ready for this. I don't think there's going to be – and again, Watson, you go back to that first game, made some really bad decisions, and we've seen
But guess what? We still had a chance to win that game.
We still had a chance to win that game, and we've grown, and he's grown. And a lot of this now, I don't think there's a lot – that's going in the favor of the Steelers right now. I got us Browns winning. Then you go down to the Broncos. Broncos are struggling, but they are a competitive team right now. They are kind of on the comeback. I'm still going to go Browns here, even though there is a little bit of a hiccup. I think that's a little bit one of those games in years past we could lose. You go to the Rams. this is going to be, I'm telling you, this is probably going to be Watson's game. We're in a dome. We're on a streak right now. The Rams are down. They're hurt. They're kind of fighting for what they're going to do next. That's going to be a huge game for Watson, I think. Offensively, we get moving. Jaguars, they're kind of frauds. I think they're fraudulent at this point. The Trevor
and you
Lawrence
get him at
hype,
home, and you get him at home.
You get him at home. You get Trevor. Guess what? Trevor Lawrence, when he has to play in cold weather, he's going to be absolute dog water. I'm loving that. Going to call that a win. This is the problem, though. I'm a little bit too giddy over this win, and I'm just going win.
Right.
There's one of these. There's one of these games that we will drop.
Hold on. Okay, so let's take the shot calling out of it, and let's boil it down to the base level. Okay, so personalized guarantee. There is not a game left on the schedule that is unwinnable.
Right.
It's not like we're running into an undefeated or a one-loss Chiefs team.
Miami.
It's not like 10 years ago and Tom Brady's still on the Patriots and that's an unwinnable game, in New England at Gillette. It's not one of these situations. Every game is still winnable. Not that games in the National Football League always aren't, but just at the eye test, every game is winnable. Now, let's take it one step further, but still in between wins and losses. The Steelers game, I think we're going to be the favorites as far as Las Vegas betting lines. Broncos, I think will be the favorites even on the road. It might be a pick 'em. It might be even. The Rams, same situation. They're going to give the Rams some, everybody, the home team is going to get the benefit of the doubt. 3 points in Vegas's eyes as far as benefit of the doubt of being at home. So let's say that we're favorites against the Steelers and we're even against the Broncos, Rams on the road. Perfect. We're going to be favorites at home against Jacksonville. All things remain the same. We're talking about right now, November 12th at 5:50 p.m. We're going to be favorites against the Chicago Bears. Fields could be shut down by then for all we know. Might be facing Tyson Bagent, whatever his name is. I think we won't be favorites against Houston. No. I think Houston will be favorites to us on the road. We're going to be the favorites against the Jets, and the Bengals will probably be the favorites against us. So what did we just do here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're the favorites or you're even for 6 out of the 8 remaining games. It's not a juggernaut schedule. We just as far as I'm concerned, after next week, the bulk of the difficult schedule is up. And you get the Steelers at home next week, and we know that they could win ball games against us, and that is the next step for me. Justin, let's do a little mini preview before we wrap up.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up today. I feel like you've always had you've always had Cincinnati's number with Stefanski. That's cool and that's good. You have to have that continue, not complacent, we're not finished there. I feel like this is the game, hopefully, where you get the Baltimore Ravens off your back a little bit. Maybe you grow up, get rid of some of these growing pains and you make sure that you have finally a solidified win on the road against Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, not some backup. Cool. Next week, you roll the momentum. And I agree with you. Are we in a good spot with 6 wins? Absolutely. But this week means a lot less if you drop an egg at home next week and lose, because you're losing to a divisional opponent, you're losing to the Steelers, and you're losing at home. So roll the wins up, like you were saying. Let's go 3 in a row: Arizona, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. And just tell me how much this game means, but also winning this game and winning next week.
I mean, you win this game and you put yourself into the position to flip-flop you and the Steelers. It's almost a playoff. It's like Jeff said earlier, it's a playoff scenario type game. The game in 2020, when it was the final game of the season, that's a playoff series game. No matter what anyone tells you, that's to get into the playoffs. This is to flip your sides in the division from 3rd to 2nd and put yourself right behind Baltimore in a position to sneak past them. And guess what? Like Jeff said, the rest of the schedule is not, by any means, it's the National Football League. Nothing's a cakewalk, but favorites in most of those games, and even the ones that you're not, like Jeff has been pounding the table on, we will be in those games with a chance to win. You better personalize, guarantee that one from me. Yes. I think the rest of the season hinges on what happens against the Steelers.
Ooh.
If you win, the ball rolls. If you lose, then you're fighting about, all right, well, is the North gone? Is it conference time? Then you get into those iffy scenarios where you start watching, all right, who's got to lose for us to get in?
And I don't want to do that.
And no one wants to do that. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of having to deal with the scenarios of, well, if Baltimore ties and Cincinnati loses and then the Eagles do this and Travis Kelce marries Taylor Swift, then we make it into the playoffs. Like, no, I don't need any of that anymore. I'm already almost on the verge of heart attacks watching these games as if I don't need to be watching Thursday night football, praying for a miracle, Monday night football, praying for a miracle, watching other games that aren't the Browns.
Right.
I just want us to get it done by our own means.
And I'm going to be honest, between me and between you and between the 63 people joining us live, meanwhile, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Hell yeah.
Between everybody, I wouldn't want it any other way. Pittsburgh coming to us, control your own destiny, get the bad omens, the bad history, the bad performances in the past, get them out, go be a new team, go be a new roster, and go have a new performance where we can say again that we belong at the top echelon of not only the AFC North, but the AFC in general, because these games are just the precursor to what everybody wants. And I want Kevin Stefanski, I want Deshaun Watson, I want Myles Garrett, I want Amari Cooper hoisting the Lombardi trophy, and I want to be in downtown Cleveland for the parade. And that's all I gotta say. Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Jeff, you can't have any other final thoughts after that. That's the exclamation point on this one. I mean, we're gonna be here. We're gonna have a preview up this week. I mean, maybe have to. Man, I wish we could go live. I'm gonna have to be at that game though. I'm gonna be at that game.
Good luck.
And we're gonna come back and we're gonna have one heck of a recap. Hopefully, talking about a W. But Jeff, you said it all. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you are hitting that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribing, hitting the bell notification, because we're not just covering the Browns. We're covering the Cavs. We're covering them every Monday. Cavs Encapsulated coming on. Me, Jeff, Logan. We're bringing it to you guys every week, and we're going to pump out some more stuff for you guys. But be sure to tune on back in every week. We're going to have some great coverage for you guys. And with that all being said, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.